Hey, welcome to Mind Controllers, a podcast about shining the light on the psychological aspects behind some of our favorite video games. I'm your host, Brandon Craw, and I'm normally joined by my co-host, Joe Moreno, but he's unfortunately out this week. And today, I'll be talking about some of the favorite video games and media I've been enjoying this week. This is going to be the start of Scatterbrained. It's less of a side project and more of just like another part of Mind Controllers where we feel like we are always just talking about video games. We wanted to have like a weekly discussion about it, and we figured might as well record it and put it out on the pod. So we're still going to keep on doing our psychological deep dive episodes, but on a week-to-week basis, we kind of wanted to just have this like chance to just chat about what we're playing. So because Joe's not here, and I played a lot of video games this week, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about just what I've been doing. Without further ado, I have been partaking in Steam Next Fest, which is this kind of like online festival meant to celebrate a bunch of indie video games. You could find all the games on Steam, which is like, for anyone who doesn't know, is the most popular like PC video game distributor. And a bunch of indie devs will put their games up on there and put them into a demo. And you can go ahead and try some out, see what games you like, see what you're feeling. It's just really a good opportunity to try out a bunch of different stuff and see what you're enjoying and see what you have to look forward to, and also just kind of to celebrate indie developers in general. So I wanted to continue with that. Over this past week, I played some of these games on stream, but I wanted to kind of put my thoughts on these games down and share them with everybody. It's kind of hard to do that on a stream when you're just playing and like kind of taking a lot of this stuff in for the first time. So thought a podcast might be a better format for that. So for the first game that I played on Steam Next Fest, I'm going to talk about these in chronological order as well. Don't really have any, like, I'm not ranking these in anything. I'm just going to be chatting about like the order in which I played them. So the first game I played was this game called Flintlock. And it's a Souls-like third-person action game. It consists of fighting these gods and their respective minions that you have accidentally unleashed upon the world. It feels a lot like like I said, it's a Souls-like game, so like Demon Souls or Elden Ring, where it's this third-person action. It's a bit combat-driven, and you have like this level-up system, you have this equipment system. So I had a lot of fun with this game. You know, it felt a bit more freeing than other Souls-like games, and you had a lot of like different traversal mechanics. You had the ability to like jump and climb. There was some sort of air dash like mechanic. You got like a double jump, so there was a bit of platforming going on. I'd say that the combat didn't feel quite as fluid as some of these other Souls-like games, and there were a few times where I was like trying to parry or dodge, and it started feeling a little complicated. So I like kind of pushed it aside for a bit and figured I'd come back to this. I think this is a game that I don't know if I'll play it again during the Steam Next Fest demo week, which concludes on June 17th, but I'll definitely keep it on my radar for whenever the full release is out. And for the second game I played, it was this indie game called Parcel. This one kind of played like Crazy Taxi for anyone who might remember that game. And in this game, you are on a bike, you are delivering parcels, and you have to ride around the city, taking these parcels to their destinations. You have like this time limit, and there's a bunch of different like routes and different paths you can take. There's a bunch of cars in the road that will like, try to impede you and like crash into you to stop you from getting there. And there's all these other little obstacles that you need to jump over. You can also do like little tricks on the bike, so it kind of has a Tony Hawk feel to it. But I would say that I didn't dig this game quite as much. The handling for everything felt a bit clunky, and that contrasted with the game kind of asking you a lot from the player to be able to make certain jumps or like ride on the wall and then jump onto some other thing, grind, and then jump somewhere else. Like there was just a lot of like tricky situations, and it felt like the handling of the bike wasn't quite as fine-tuned as I was hoping for a game that incentivizes you for doing things quickly. So unfortunately, I'll probably like not pick this one up again, but I still had a good time trying it out, and it was pretty fun to play. And I really like the art style and like the saturation of a lot of the colors. It feels like bright, colorful games are kind of rare these days. The next game I played is called I Am Your Beast. And now this game I really enjoyed. This is like a really fun, it's like a level and objective based first person shooter where you have this confined like area, you have this specific location, and then you have these tasks you must complete and enemies you must kill, and then you have to escape within this time limit, which tends to be around a minute or so. This game felt very fast paced and kind of twitchy, and I think it wants you to replay levels to try and figure out the most efficient way to complete the level. And I found myself doing that pretty frequently. The first couple of times I would like load into a level that was beyond the first level. Like, so the demo offered about 4-5 different levels maybe for you to play from. And then they had these bonus objectives attached to them. And if you completed all the bonus objectives, then you would unlock these challenge levels. So I didn't quite get to the challenge level part yet, but with the main levels, I had a great time. It was really fun to just plan out the route you're going to take and try to improvise on the fly of like how you're going to take out the enemies. Like, for example, I shot this one guy, then I ran out of bullets as I was shooting another one. So I had to like throw the gun at him, and that took him out, and I picked up his gun, and it just like kind of cascades from there. And it gets your heart pumping. I definitely had like the sweaty palm thing afterwards, but it was really satisfying when you were able to knock out a level. So highly recommend this game. Be sure to check it out. It was called I Am Your Beast. Another game I played is called Once Human. Now this game is a third-person sci-fi action-adventure survival MMO. Kind of had a lot going on. It kind of reminded me of another video game called Remnant, or maybe The Division on, I think The Division was just a PlayStation exclusive. But with this game, you start off as this like character, this kind of dystopian world. You wake up like caged, and then this thing within you like breaks free and breaks you out. And then you find that you have these abilities to like shift between these two different phases. And I'm not so clear on what was happening exactly narratively. There was kind of a lot going on. All I can say is that once it dumped you out into the main game, it very much felt like a survival game where you had to craft things, you had to mine, you had to chop down trees and like build things. The tutorial for a lot of these crafting systems and the survival aspects was pretty interesting because it had you crafting a camp that allowed you to then like create a workbench so that you could create some more weapons. But this felt pretty quick and streamlined. And then it immediately had you fighting this boss. So you kind of did like a pseudo tower defense or like area defense thing where the boss and the minions were like attacking you and you had to defend your hometown. And then once you defeat this boss and like get a good feel for the game, it dumps you out into the MMO part. And in the MMO part, you kind of do a lot more of the same, but it's a huge open world and you could see the other players and they have proximity chat going so you could hear other people talking to each other. I didn't have quite enough time to dive into the more social aspects because I think the first part that teaches you the game only took about an hour to get through. And then after that, I didn't have a lot of time to dive into the rest of it. So unfortunately, that's another game I want to come back to. And you could tell there's a lot of depth to the systems that are going on in there. And I'm excited to see where it goes. This might have been one of the more popular ones of the Steam Next Fest that's been streaming like a lot. I noticed that there were a bunch of followers and like tens of thousands of viewers for this game. So it is like coming in hot. I think the release date is relatively soon. I don't know if it's going to be free. I don't know what it's going to cost, but definitely keep it on your radar. Another game I decided to play after Once Human was called Lost Castle 2. This game was a pretty fun 2D side-scrolling roguelike. It had online capabilities, and throughout the runs, you would gain like new equipment that have these stats and effects, and then you can carry up to like one armor piece and one weapon. So as you're like unlocking these new weapons and armor, you need to make a decision of which one you want to take with you throughout the rest of the run. The gameplay was a little less fluid than I was hoping for. This might be my own personal bias because I've been playing a lot of Hades and I really I had a lot of fun with the game, but I think just comparing it to Hades, which is probably the most popular roguelike right now, it felt like it was lacking a little bit in the combat. I did really enjoy the art design. The gameplay, it reminded me a bit of Castle Crashers, if anyone's played that one, which is another like co-op side-scrolling game, kind of like a beat 'em up there. Yeah, with this game, the bosses were actually pretty fun, and it was kind of interesting that the same boss wasn't appearing in the same area. So like the boss for the first area, I died the first time I encountered it, but then the next time I came back to it, it was a different boss, and I was actually able to kill that one a lot quicker. So that was pretty cool to see, and it kind of threw me off, and it made the run a bit more interesting. I unfortunately wasn't able to connect with anyone to play this game. I don't know if the servers were off or what, but every time I tried to do a quick match or whatever, it quickly bounced off. Like it just said like unable to connect. So I'm guessing the servers are off and they'll eventually turn them on. Yeah, I think that will conclude like some of the highlights from Steam Next Fest. I'm going to keep on playing some other games. Hopefully I will be able to stream some of these games as well. And of course, we've been streaming Alan Wake 2 and loving that. I hope y'all can catch us the next time we stream that one. But yeah, I think this might conclude this first episode of Scatterbrained. Any future one is going to have, it's going to probably be me and little less structured, me and Joe just chatting about what else we've been enjoying. But, I had this, I think in the last podcast episode, I said we were going to do this, and then, some stuff came up. So I wanted to at least, get this first one out there, see how it felt, and see what y'all think of it. So thank you for listening to me rant about video games for the past 13 minutes. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to any of the posts and in the podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye.